So friends, we begin Shabbat this week. We are now firmly planted in the Torah journey of the Midbar, of the wilderness. And this week's Torah portion begins with another census, another counting. And they begin counting some specific clans of the Levites. And in many ways, it reminds me of the many different ways that people contribute to the spiritual and sacred life of community and congregation. And I think as somebody who has been the recipient of the kinds of spiritual gifts that the Levites create through music and through creating sanctuary and community this past Shabbat, and then thinking about this coming Sunday, while my thank you will come in many different forms, I just wanted to start this service off by offering a deep sense of appreciation for everyone who has helped make such meaningful services, and for there to be a reflection of the kind of creativity and authenticity we support here, which to me adds to a particular quality of sacred service that I believe is a hallmark of Beit Haverim, and hopefully a signature of my leadership as well. And so it's just been a really beautiful thing to watch and to take note of, to do a different kind of census of just recognizing the vast ways that we come together in beauty. So we're going to light our Shabbat candles. I'd like to invite Tom Downs to light candles as Gayan leads us in the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'hitzivanu lehadlikner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, Tom. We continue with Shalom Aleichem on page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Nilei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nilei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sechem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, Ori. It's good to see you. Thanks for waving and dancing with all of us. Friends, we're going to take a moment to check in with each other in breakout rooms. For friends who are joining us on YouTube, we invite you to introduce yourself, and we'll go back and have an opportunity to say hello to you. Please bear with us as we take a few minutes to wish one another a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom. People want to share a little bit of the meaningful parts of their weeks with one another. If you encounter a guest or someone you don't know, please introduce yourselves, particularly if there are folks you don't know. You may even want to also invite people, if they're comfortable, sharing pronouns so that we're gendering everybody appropriately in ways that honor who they are. So I'm going to invite us to go into those breakout rooms, and then we'll join together for some Psalms when we return. Friends on YouTube, we will be rejoining momentarily, but please let us know how you're doing as you enter Shabbat. We would love to hear what were some of the meaningful highlights of your week. Welcome, Effie. People are in breakout rooms.
How are you, Rabbi Josh?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Are you here on your own?
No, Gayanne is leading with me.
Okay.
People are starting to rejoin us. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you had a nice opportunity to connect with one another. So friends, as you come back, we're beginning our Psalms with Lachuna Ranana. You'll find Lachuna Ranana on page 20, 21. I think we'll wait a few more moments. More folks are coming back. I'll repeat myself again. Friends, 2021 is Lachuna Ranana. Please join us. Welcome back.
Yai da da yai yai, 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 yai da da yai yai. Yai da da yai yai, yai da da yai yai, yai da da lechune ranena l'Adonai naria letzoyishenu Nekadema Fana Betoda Bizmirod Narialo Yada 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 da yada yada da yada da yada da yada da yada da Page 25. Shirul Adonai, Shir Chada, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Ladonai, Shirada, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato. Hey, we welcome the Shabbos bride with Lechadodi. Lechadodi likrakala, yadadai, 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 and Shabbat nekavela. Lechadodi likrakala, yadadai, 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 and Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibar echad Hishmi'anu hamilchad Adonai echad u'shamo echad L'shem u'tiferet וליתי לה, היי, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעצי, על יד איש בן בצי, ונשמחה ונגילה, היי לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדה, 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 בן שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדה, 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 בן שבת נקבלה, בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדה, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, ידדה, 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 ידדה.
So friends, we turn to page 55 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Those who would like to rise and body your spirit, I invite you to do so. We turn, as I said, to page 55. Yikadahal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, b'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, uvchayedecho beit Yisrael, bahagala, bahagala, uvizmahan kahariv, v'imeru amen. Yehi shmei rabo mevorach, leolam leomei amaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha brichu, li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imeru amen. The Baruch, how we begin Ma'ariv with a call and response about being open to blessing and having blessing move through us so that we are both recipients as well as bestowers of blessing. Please join me. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai, ha-mevorach, ha-mevorach.
Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai, ha-mevorach leolam va'ed. Tonight, as an alternative to Asher Bivaro, I've asked Susan Simon to read this poem by Bliss Carman called Earth Voices.
I heard the spring wind whisper above the brushwood fire. The world is made forever of transport and desire. I am the breath of being, the primal urge of things. I am the whirl of stardust. I am the lift of wings. I am the splendid impulse that comes before the thought, the joy and exultation wherein the life is caught. Across the sleeping furrows, I call the buried seed, and blade and bud and blossom awaken at my need. Within the dying ashes, I blow the sacred spark and make the hearts of lovers to leap against the dark.
Ma'avir yom u'mevi laila, u'mavdil ben yom ve'laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo, El chai v'chayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. We sing this alternative version of Ahavat Olam. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love. It's page 61. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled, ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love.
Friends, I was just taking in those words in recognition that this is my last Erev Shabbat service in my role as senior rabbi. And so, when Gayan was asking which version of Avat Olam should we do, and as much as I love hearing our band come together and play the traditional one, I look forward to a time when I can be in person and the band will be there and I'll be sitting amongst all of you and beaming my love to them. But for me, there's so much about this prayer that represents the best of what it means when we're in community together. And to be able to open up the portals for us to feel an unending love has been one of the best parts of being in community when we've arrived there, which has been many times. And so I'm just grateful to have those moments to take. And we move from that sense of unending love to recognizing the oneness that we share. And so invite you to join me in the Shema. If you'd like to take a moment to close your eyes, please do so. I believe the Shema is on page 65. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meyodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'leftecha v'derech v'shavpecha uvekumecha ukshartam leohot al yadecha v'hayu letatafot bein einecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. We continue on page 79 with our prayer for liberation, Micha Mocha.
Micha mocha b'elim Adonai, Micha mocha neder b'kodesh, norati lo osef ele, yada da ya, yada da da, yada da da, yada oh, yada da ya, yada da da, yada da. Leolam vaed Adonai imloch, Leolam vaed Adonai imloch, Leolam vaed, Leolam vaed. Yada da ya, da 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 da, yada da da ya oh, yada da 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 da, yada da da da. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, God Yisrael. Yada da ya, yada da da yada oh, yada da yada da. So when we come to the Hashkivenu and we're praying for a shelter of peace, it's very easy for us to think about Israel. And last week when I was leading the Ufros Aleinu, I said this sentence. I said, we could all use a shelter of peace about now. And I got a lot of nods when I said that sentence. What I failed to say at the time, because things are moving quite rapidly, but it's really important to tell you this part, that one sentence, as profound and simple as it is at the same time, was something that I learned from Rabbi Sandra Lawson. And so I wanted to make sure that she is credited with the importance of that sentence. We could all use a shelter of peace about now. And let's hope that this peace endures. So Rabbi Sandra visited Israel and has some other words about Israel to share. And I'm going to share those words with you now. These are Rabbi Sandra Lawson's words. During a visit to Israel, I went on a trip with Encounter to East Jerusalem. I saw checkpoints, military personnel, refugee camps, and neighborhoods that look very different from my own. Later, I sat and listened to Palestinians tell their stories and speak about the realities of living in Jerusalem. I listened to their stories and I listened to their pain, and my heart broke as each of them told a room full of Jews what it was like to be Palestinian in Jerusalem. As I listened, the speakers became my mothers, my sisters, my sons, and my brothers. I could see myself in each one of them. We must strive to always see each other as created in the image of God, because when we do, we treat each other with love, dignity, and respect. As the day was ending, the words of one speaker, a teenager, remained in my head. He said, "I am human." These words stayed with me the rest of the day. And then I came home and wrote this song. I am human and I am free. Watch me fly above the trees. You can hear my cry and you can hear my roar, but you can't take away my soul. We'll fight and we'll cry and we'll even abide. We'll say goodbye just to stay alive. And the day will come to have dignity again. Ufros aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shelamecha, ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot, Shelomecha, Yaidai, Yaidai, Yaidai,
So, friends, this is an opportunity. If you want to pray the traditional Amidah, to please feel free to do so. And if not, it's an invitation with me to take a moment of contemplative silence. There has been a lot of unrest in our world. Unrest as Jews, often in the complicated place in a community such as ours, that grieves with the pain of humanity, particularly our Israeli family, and for many of us, the being in solidarity with Palestinians who are often denied so much access to their own self-determination and human rights. And then to be in a space where through trauma and through misunderstanding, people end up moving into places of sides in such a way where the belief is to continue to harm one another as an expression of some lopsided sense of affiliation, and kind of the tribal ways that we as human beings can sometimes trace back to our roots. So as I heard Rabbi Sandra's words and I listened to Gayan's voice, I know that for me that there's some space under the Sukkot Shalom, the canopy of peace, where my own soul needs a little bit of tending, where my own sense of unrest, where I might have found myself particularly moved, hurt, in anguish. And so invite us to bring a bit of our attention to that place of what it is that we need for our own souls and how we can stand for the values that we hold most dear and support the people in our lives who need to be supported with our care and compassion. So take some silence now, and then we'll join our prayers for our own souls to that of healing for those in our community and beyond. friends, we take a moment to put in the chat the names of those we pray a refuah shlema, a healing of body, of spirit, and mind. Invite our friends on YouTube to put names for whom you would like to pray for healing as well. May they feel the sense of our care as a part of their healing. And so I'd like to add to those names that people have sent in from our community: Richard Adler, Marilyn Pankin, Richard Cohen, Jenny Williams Cohen, Mario Eugene Hudson II, Lois Birch, Andrea Finn, Bev Corfin, Uli Sprick, Ellie Emmerich Hart, Shai Nach, Billy Nach, Claude Baruch, Jordan Schwartz, Jamie Schwartz, Tesla Queen, Janice Blackmon, Beth Ann Bootycant, Nancy Davis, Megan Redant, Janice Roger, Pilar Barclay, the Levin family, the Kolbs Reckelman family, Grady Floyd, Adair, Eyal Schechter, Dolly Wax, Esther Myers, Ellen Leary, Julio Quintana, Jacob Gutman, Ronna Crozy, Patty Marcus, David Kay, Alyssa Gilbert, Ursula Vackman.
Visheberach Avotenu Makor Chaim Leimotenu Hu Yevarech Yirafeh Et HaCholim El Narefana La El Narefana Lo El Narefana La El Narefana La El Narefana La El Narefana Lo El Narefana Lo El Narefana La.
So friends, I have a Devar Torah for you this evening, and something that I have with all of us in mind. Embedded in our Torah portion, Naso, which is a complicated portion, embedded within it is the powerful priestly blessing. The Birkat Kohanim is the most ancient piece of biblical text that has been discovered, written on artifacts like amulets and on headstones. These amulets and headstones date all the way back to the period of the First Temple, which was 960 to 586 BCE. The priestly blessing is an example of what we would call apotropaic texts, which means texts that were designed specifically to ward off evil. They were special ritual formulas that were often etched into metal and stone so that they could be worn to literally protect people. I suppose before there were Jewish stars or high necklaces, the priestly blessing was the jewelry of the time, donned to express identity and a sense of protection. During the time of the temple, the practice of saying the blessing came with a set of protocols for the Kohanim to carry out that involved standing on platforms above the congregation with their hands outstretched. Later on, when prayer shawls were worn through rabbinic time to today, talitot would cover the priest's hands and their entire faces. Their shape of their hand, as you probably have seen, would be like this on both sides. I'm not quite coordinated on this hand to be able to do it, so I'm going to keep this hand like this as a way to demonstrate the Hebrew letter Shin. Shin for the name of God, Shaddai. We find Shaddai, or a Shin, on most mezuzot today. Shaddai likely comes from the word dayenu, die, this sense of having enough, abundance, provider, nurturer. It also should be noted that Shaddai means breasts. And so I think that there is this understanding of God's mother strength as being nurturing and providing in this very strong way. Neither the Kohen or their hands were understood as the source of blessing. Rather, they were simply the conduit. In the portion, it says, "And you shall place my name upon them." And so in many ways, this was a literal desire to put a sign of protection on the people. And so it was the power of the name that was understood as being what was most relevant. This ritual in different forms has survived all of these centuries later. In some communities on special holy days and fast days, people from the Kohanic line still perform this in the way that I described. Parents of many different Jewish identifications offer this blessing to their children on Shabbat. And many congregations, like ours, have deconstructed the hierarchy of Kohen and Levite and Israelite so that everyone is included. And we offer the blessing to one another, or have the rabbi or cantor do so. Just like we do at High Holy Days, many congregations, particularly Reconstructionist ones, shelter each other under a prayer shawl as a way to offer symbolic protection and solidarity with each other. I love saying this blessing. I love it because it is ancient, because it is simple, and in its simplicity, so complex and powerful. As a rabbi, I like this idea that I can step into the possibility of being a conduit. And I love that it can be translated with subtle but profound differences. Listen, may God bless you and protect you. It could be, may God bless you and guard you. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and offer you favor. Or may God's countenance shine light upon you and offer you grace or treat you well. May God's countenance be lifted upon you and show you peace, offer you wholeness. There are so many different ways, and each has a particular power in its own ability to speak to the moment. And more importantly, there's a way that as a rabbi, particularly of our community, for a whole variety of reasons, that I feel a deep sense of mother love and father protection for our community. And to say this prayer is to do so in shorthand of gathering all of you in and wishing my prayers that none of us come to harm and that all of us have what we need. And so it feels fitting that my last Shabbat would have this blessing embedded in the Torah portion. It is a blessing that I have said hundreds, maybe thousands of times with you at holidays and at life cycles, at beginnings and at endings. And so I want to say it again tonight with a bit of annotation and explanation of how I hope CBH might receive this blessing in this moment of profound transition. May God bless you. May God bless you. The simplest form of blessing is its physical manifestation. Congregation Beit Chaverim, I hope you are always blessed with what you need. May you have access to the tangible resources that you need to fill your powerful mission. May you trust that there is an abundance of blessing so that you need not fear, that you need not hoard your resources, so that you may use them ethically and wisely. May your abundance serve the congregation well. May you let the resources flow, being able to trust that they will be replenished. May you continue to pay your employees a meaningful wage with appropriate benefits. May you support people and communities in greater need. And may you have the blessing to contribute to organizations that share an alignment of mission. And may your faith be steadfast in that you can find what it is that you need. May God protect you. Beit Chaverim, we have weathered trying times together. Even before my time, when I think about our founding, just our very presence struck fear and antagonism within our larger community. Whether it was the dissolution of the synagogue council in trying to figure out whether we could be welcomed, or living through a time when so many of our members were living with AIDS and HIV, to the internal challenges of weathering a breakoff and the reintegration eventually of many of its members. And then all of our wandering between homes, the Quaker Meeting House, CCUCC, and our home now, and the many places before that, whether it was the First Existentialist Congregation or a number of other places CBH found shelter. This pandemic that we have been living through, and the upheaval of staff and rabbinic transition. CBH, you have been able to rely on a resilience, and you have been able to rediscover yourself throughout these challenges. As you go forward in this time of uncertainty, may you remember your tenacious ability to survive, to adapt, and to thrive. Do not succumb to the seductive and agitating nature of fear. It's understandable to have those moments, but don't let that be what rules the day. Rather, hear this blessing, and may you open up to the possibility of protection for yourselves and for the community. May God's countenance shine light upon you. Congregation Beit Chaverim, may you appreciate the value of transparency, of speaking truth, of communicating clearly and openly. May transparency be applied evenly, and may transparency be appreciated and refrain from being used as a weapon. I offer this blessing, if I may share, because CBH, I believe, has a complicated relationship with transparency. On one hand, the prayer for the end of hiding is all about the spiritual integrity of transparency, though sometimes I feel it can shift the responsibility onto others, like the larger society. We all have a piece to claim in how we want to live our lives. My experience is that we can at times tend to advocate for transparency selectively. I invite us to be as rigorous with ourselves as we hope from others when it comes to how we can be honest, and to temper that honesty with a sense of kindness and compassion, and show you grace. CBH, I choose to translate chen as grace in this moment rather than gracious or favor as it's often translated. It's because I believe as Jews, as a collective, we could cultivate a deeper sense of grace in general. The kind of grace of having received blessing through no merit of our own, particularly in the context of forgiveness and of compassion. What I know after 22 years of serving a community is that I have no doubt that alongside all of the ways that I have strived to offer support and care, witness and wisdom, I too must have left a trail of hurt. When I have known, I have sought to clean it up. But I also know, just as is the way of community, that there are things that have occurred that I was unaware of or happened inadvertently. And I recognize that I have been the benefactor of many people's grace over the years. Just as I too have worked to offer forgiveness and to let go of slights and harms that I have experienced. I've also benefited from the myriad of kindnesses people have shown me, just as an aspect of your own self-expression. I hope that you are able to balance a sense of transparency, that you can extend to each other more grace, more benefit of the doubt, a willingness to understand, a possibility of creating spaciousness for people to show up, even when it is hard. May God's countenance uplift you. In Jewish theology, when God's face is hidden, it is a sign that life is rudderless. That meaning has gone by the wayside. So thus, by logic, I imagine that when God's countenance is raised and uplifted, it is a sign of living vibrantly and expressively. And so I bless you with the possibility of fulfilling your mission of inclusion, of welcoming Jews and their loved ones powerfully, so that all can live an authentic, creative, spiritual, meaningful life. May your name be associated with the pursuit of justice, with places of healing, rallies for joy, and a home where strangers are transformed into friends, and show you peace. May you each come to a moment where any of the deep unrest, the uncertainty, the hurt, the fear, the pain that you've experienced in this life cease. And may you see your wholeness reflected in the beauty of a loving, diverse community. And may that moment, even if it is ever so brief, become a point that you can return to and seek again and again for the very peace of your soul and for the soul of this beautiful congregation. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'kuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Kain yehi ratzon. May it be God's will. Shabbat shalom. So friends, at the last moment, we discovered that we didn't have announcements. So I am giving announcements this evening. There's a bit of a weird transition. So Jack of all trades, Josh of all trades. And so I just want to invite, if there are folks in leadership who recognize that there is something that should be said or spoken, we used last week's announcement, so please feel free to add some things in. So friends, Shabbat Shalom and welcome. We are so glad that you are here joining us for services, and folks who are joining us from around the country and also on YouTube, so thank you. Here's a little bit about what's coming up next week, particularly in relationship to services. On Saturday, May 22nd, which is tomorrow, please join us for the Brit Mitzvah of Noah Robertson. For those of you, which would likely be guests, Noah Robertson is the child of our chorus director and of our former executive director and member, Amy Robertson. So it is a communal celebration. Please join us on Zoom tomorrow. You'll also witness a little bit of CBH history as in this time of transition, we'll be making a change. I'm actually, given that everybody is vaccinated and I'm vaccinated, I will be leading services with them from their home. So we're slowly moving back thoughtfully with the guidance of our COVID task force. That will be something that's celebrated, and hopefully we'll continue to keep moving in ways that ensure everybody's safety and invite us to be together in ways that make sense, given all of the things that we're trying to balance. Next Shabbat is Memorial Day weekend. It will also mean we'll have one of our rare Shabbats in the home. Please be on the lookout for some resources that Gan is preparing so that you'll be able to have a meaningful Shabbat in your own space. And by materials, I think she means mimosas, right? So June 11th, we are having a special service. Beit Chaverim is having a special service to celebrate and welcome Rabbi Dale. Services will start at 6:45. Wait, you might be asking, didn't we already do that? We didn't. We actually introduced Dale to you, and we really wanted to be able to have an opportunity for you to meet her first before you were asked to celebrate. But now that you've gotten an opportunity to see a taste of what an incredible guide and rabbi she will be in our interim year, I hope that you'll make the time to abundantly celebrate and get to know her even better. Please give her that warm CBH welcome of transforming strangers into friends. Our food security project, as you've been seeing, Rebecca Grapevine has been doing awesome trying to recruit folks for the last couple Fridays. So if you know that you have some availability, please be in touch with her at rgrapevine@gmail.com. We could certainly use a handful of other drivers and help with some of the rotation of people who have been doing it every week. Join us Sunday, May 23rd, which is this Sunday at 7 p.m. for a tribute and a roast of Rabbi Josh. That would be me. You won't want to miss this celebration. Look for details in your bet mail or on the CBH calendar. I've been told there's going to be a lot of really wonderful surprises. There's been a lot of hard work and energy. We have very different energy than the service that we had, but it will be certainly celebratory, light, and a lot of fun, I've been told. And as always, there's much more going on at CBH, our evening minyan, our mindful moments in the morning. Please check out all of this on our website at www.congregationbeitchaverim.org. And Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Josh. Thank you. This is what it's going to be like. I'm going to have to start talking to myself on Friday nights. We turn to page 121 for the Aleinu. Please join me. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teit gedula liyotzeh breshit shenatan lanu Torah hatemet v'chayei olam nata betochenu v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai le'melech kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. So friends, we take this moment to say Kaddish, to remember and honor those who have died. I ask those who are observing a yortzeit or who are in a period of ritual mourning to please add the names of those that you're honoring. Invite us to wait a moment as we add those names. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevorach le'olam omei amaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'tramam v'yitnaseh, v'tadar v'talev v'talal shemei d'kutsha b'richu, le'elam in kol birchata v'shirata, Tishbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. And so, friends, before we close with a blessing of peace, I missed a message from Ruben who asked if he could make a brief announcement. So, Ruben, if you'd like to, you can come off of mute. Is that?
Oh, hey, it was actually me, Mackenzie. Hi, everybody.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
No worries. I know it's the name. Thank you, Rabbi Josh, as always, for an incredible Devar, and thank you for doing the announcements as well. And I wanted to add just one more thing in both the spirit of transparency around around some of what is happening transition-wise behind the scene, because as you all heard, this is Rabbi Josh's last official service as our senior rabbi, and so that is something big. And throughout the time moving forward, I want you all to know that there is so much that is happening, that is going on with helping to orient Rabbi Dale, and also really working with the school. So I'm really wanted to speak to the school families, because I know that there's a lot of concern about who is going to be leading services with the Brit Mitzvah or B'nai Mitzvah families for the next 2 years. And so I just wanted to allay any concerns or fears, to tell you that the staff is working on this so assiduously, and knowing that everything changed immediately last Thursday. As Rabbi Josh said, he's going to be leading in person with the Robertsons, which is fantastic. And so along with just responding to COVID, there's also responding to our pool of officiants, and that Teresa and the staff are working so hard. So please know that while there may not have been very much information coming out right now, that folks are carrying and caring very deeply for the families, and there'll be a lot of information coming out very soon. So that's all. I just wanted to allay that information with so much care and love, because it's such a ripe time during the ramp up to through the Brit Mitzvah process. So you are held and being held, and more information will be coming soon. So Shabbat Shalom all.
Shabbat Shalom. And luckily, that gave me pause to remember we should say the prayer for the end of hiding. So you'll find it in the chat. Please join me. As LGBTQ Jews, we are aware of the loss of integrity we suffer due to pressures of the larger society. We often feel forced into a dishonest presentation of ourselves, to ourselves and others. The LGBTQ individuals who feel they must pretend to be something that they are not, the Jews who feel they must be alienated from their tradition and community to win larger acceptance, both are victims of a theft of identity and integrity committed by the sexual, gender-identifying, or religious majority. Creator of the universe, we ask that our hiding draw to an end, that we no longer feel we have to pretend, to promise falsely, to renounce ourselves, and that our fullest creative expression as Jews and as lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer people be among the blessings you bestow upon us. Amen. And so, friends, we close with Oseh Shalom. May the one who creates peace in the heights create peace for all of us, for the people Israel and the entire world. Amen.
We will close with Oseh Shalom, but we're first going to close with a priestly blessing, the Birkat Kohanim, for Rabbi Josh and for the congregation, for you both. May Shekhinah bless thee and keep thee from harm. May her light shine on you and wrap you in warmth. Adonai panav elecha vechuneka. Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. May Shekhinah bless thee and keep thee from harm. May her light shine on you and wrap you in warmth. Adonai panav elecha vechuneka. May her countenance be lifted upon thee and bring peace. Ken yahi ratzon, oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yacho Yisrael, ve'yacho yoshvei tevel, ve'imro, amen. Hey, yada da da ya ya, yada yada da, yada da yada ya ya, yada da yada da da da, yada da ya ya, yada da yada da da, yada da yada da da da. Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yacho Yisrael, ve'yacho yoshvei tevel, ve'imro, amen. Hey, yada da 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 da, yada yada da, yada da yada da da, yada da yada da da da, yada da yada, yada yada da, yada da yada da da, yada da yada da da da. One more time, yada da yada, yada 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 da yada yada, yada da yada da yada. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom all.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbat.
Rabbi.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Rabbi Josh.
Shabbat shalom.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ashikawa.
Bye, Gabby.
Ashikawa. Hi. Gabby, say hi.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.